Bom dia, boa tarde, boa noite, or whatever the case may be. My name is Marcus, and I am the host of the Black Brazil Today YouTube channel, as well as the blackbraziltoday.com blog, where I analyze Brazil from the perspective of race. So today I want to do a reaction to a video I came across a few days ago. So the video that I'm reacting to today is actually a response or reaction to a previous video that I had done a couple months back. You know, this video made the rounds on the internet, on various social networks, and various people reacted to it. So I reacted to it. So I'm actually reacting to somebody's reaction, or just actually putting what they've said in their video into more context. Today's video, I have also tried to be white at a point in my life. Influencer says Black Brazilians should read Frantz Fanon to understand the influence of whiteness. So I'm quite sure many of you already know who Frantz Fanon is. If you don't know who Frantz Fanon is, definitely go and check him out. When I first started digging into the experiences of African descendants around the world, you know, 20, 30 years ago, you know, I just consider Frantz Fanon's work as being just necessary reading for anybody to understand the racial dynamics of the world that we live in. Before I get into this reaction today, definitely like this video, share this video, consider subscribing to the channel and clicking on the notification bell. With that said, let me get into what this social media influencer had to say about this previous video that I had talked about. So today's video I'm reacting to comes courtesy of a channel that's called Patroa Black. This is Patroa Black. She's reacted to a video that I did, I don't know, maybe a couple of months ago. Let me see if I can find it. I think it may be this one right here. This is a video that I put up, what is this? Looks like a month ago. And the video is called "You Stop Pretending to Be White." A girl on social media goes viral after removing filters that lightened her skin. So this girl, this Brazilian girl who, I mean, depending on how you see her, some people would see her as black, some people would see her as brown or whatever. She was using whatever tools that you have online to give herself a whiter appearance. And people noticed when she took all of those filters off, I'm quite sure she was using some type of makeup to give her a whiter appearance. And so this is what this TikToker profile is talking about today. So I want to get directly into that video today. Then I'm going to come back and just give my own take on what she's talking about. Again, the video reaction is courtesy of the Patroa Black TikTok page. So let's first talk about, let me just overdub what she had to say, and then I'm going to come back and react to it. A lot of Black people have tried to be white at some point in their lives. I've tried it. I used to put a hair clip in my nose, maybe it would thin it out. I didn't sunbathe so that I wouldn't become blacker than I already am. I wore long sleeve blouses even in summer because in my imagination, I thought that people wouldn't see me as black. And so on, right? And what happens to this girl in the video is a good example of what Frantz Fanon explains in his book, Black Skin, White Mask, which I strongly recommend to everyone to read because it's a book that talks precisely about this complexity of being a black person in a predominantly white world. Society does interfere us to make us hide who we really are. And social networks only make it worse because on social networks, everyone's life is perfect and white people are still the most accepted and valued. They're the ones who go viral, even sometimes doing nothing at all. And it's with this overvaluation of white people that black people often start wearing white masks, which is this attempt to conform to society's standards. And this feeling of inadequacy isn't something that comes out of nowhere, right? I woke up and decided that today I'm going to be a clone of a white person. I'm going to reproduce everything they do, how they dress, how they walk. That's not how it happens. All this happens automatically, like a reflection of the racism that we don't understand, but that we face since we were children. It's the jokes about our hair. It's the jokes about the color of our skin. It's the boyfriend we never have, the heroes and princesses who are never black. All of this makes us understand that being black means not being accepted, not being valued, not being popular. So this white mask is this attempt to be another white clone in society to avoid this prejudice. So look how much racism affects our self-esteem, how much it disconnects us from who we really are, and how much it makes us internalize a negative view of our own identity. Look how important it is for us to have a safe space from the time we are children, a space where we can be who we really are without fear of discrimination, a space with representation with Black friends, with a support network that empowers you every day as a Black person since you were a child. And I've been reflecting a lot in recent days on how I can evolve personally, professionally in these spaces that are mostly white, but without distancing myself from who I really am. Without changing the way I speak, the way I dress, my hair. So how much I am, how much you are, Black people? How much are we changing for ourselves? How much are we just falling for this pressure from society, putting on a white mask to feel accepted? Reflect on this from your side too. So you heard what Patroa Black had to say about this, right? This is the reaction that she had to watching this girl's transformation and coming back into looking like a Black woman, right? Everything that she said, you'll be familiar with some of the concepts that she dropped in this video, because a lot of this has to do with what she's read and come to a conclusion, a realization that she's come from reading some of the works of Frantz Fanon. The idea of Black people putting on the white mask to hide or disguise their Blackness in a society that overvalues whiteness. Okay. Just about every comment that she made is something that could be explained in a whole video all by itself. Society does interfere to make us hide who we really are. The jokes about people's hair, Black people's hair, the jokes about, brown to dark skin, even light skinned Black people. So we symbolically put on this white mask. Now in Brazil, this has, and what can you say? This explains the whole racial dynamic that goes on in Brazil. I'm sure many of us in the United States can relate to what she's talking about. You go to a movie theater, why are all the heroes always white? What does that put in the mind of the Black child? Now, of course, when you're 8 or 9, you're not thinking about something like that. But as you grow up, you come to perceive, when you look back at all the media that you've consumed over your life, like, wow, very, very rarely did I see a Black hero. A lot of times the Black folks featured in these, these extreme, these Disney, productions that we grow up watching. A lot of times it's going to be the Black person who's, I remember that a lot of people believe, and if you go back and watch a lot of movies, you'll see that the Black person is often the first one to get killed in a movie. All right. The hero is always going to be the white guy. The hero is always going to be the white woman. Of course, they've tried to change that a little, but in general, a lot of us can relate to what this lady was talking about here. I know Frantz Fanon's work opened up my eyes to a lot of things that I definitely wasn't going to learn in school. So the work of Frantz Fanon is highly important to understand race relations in Brazil, as well as the United States and other countries where you have Black and white people living together. This book was re-released in the last 10 years, I want to say. It's translated as Pele Negra, Máscaras Brancas. Again, when I looked on the or just the work that I've done on the blackbraziltoday.com blog, there's a lot of articles that talk about this book right here. Máscaras Brancas, Pele Negra, Máscaras Brancas, which means black skin, white mask, based on a Fanon classic. Dance company presents spectacular Black dance based on studies of ethno-racial relations in Brazil. So these are all articles where the name of Frantz Fanon actually appeared in the article, because, I have a friend down in Sao Paulo. He did his dissertation. He's like a Frantz Fanon specialist. So just highly necessary reading for people to have an understanding. When you look at Black skin, white mask, it opens your eyes a lot. It exposes you to things that you probably never thought about. And this classic came out, I think this book came out in maybe 1952. It's 2025. People are still talking about this book because it breaks down. Okay, so Frantz Fanon was from the island of Martinique, but he got exposure and fame working as, I think, a psychoanalyst or psychiatrist over in Algeria. There's 4 major works by Frantz Fanon that everybody should be reading if they're interested in how whiteness influences how Black people tend to see themselves, always in comparison to the opposite of Blackness, which is whiteness. So how does this play out in Brazil? They've already had their own books put out exploring Black identity and how whiteness denigrates Blackness. Numerous people have talked about how Brazil undermines Black identity and Black self-esteem to the point Black people who you and I would look at and see a Black person and they'll be in complete denial. Like, no, I'm not Black. This is a video that I did a year ago featuring the actor Samuel Giassis. He said, I only saw myself as handsome after a lot of therapy, how a Eurocentric Brazil undermines the concept of Black beauty. This is exactly what we're talking about, whether we're talking about interracial relations. I've done numerous videos and articles talking about, like, where do Black Brazilians get this ideal? I just did a video a few days ago that some Black people feel that they can only experience real love at the sight of a white person. Where do these thoughts come from? Brazil has imposed this idea of white superiority. You could argue all the way back to the slavery era, going back to the 16th century. This influences all race relations in Brazil right now. People continue to fight against it as they become aware of this implementation of white superiority in the minds of many non-white people in Brazil. I remember some years ago, I forget the guy's name. He's really famous now, but he was on Big Brother Brazil, and he was like, white girls never look at me. This article I called How One Participant's Desire to Swirl on Popular Reality Show Raises Questions About the Self-Esteem of Black Men. In a nation where the standard has always been white, self-esteem for Black women is a survival strategy. Who loves Black women? Loneliness and the breakdown of Black women's self-esteem. It's just numerous articles that I have here. When you go to the blackbraziltoday.com blog and you punch in the word self-esteem, you'll come up with all of these articles. Just people talking about the necessity of rebuilding Black self-esteem in a country that has done everything to denigrate Black self-esteem. In this article, Racism and Self-Esteem, Afro-Brazilians share experiences and challenges of living in a society that is a constant assault on one's Blackness. Check out some of these articles over at the blog. Look at this one. I hated myself and didn't even know it. Activist memories demonstrate how Brazil undermines the self-esteem of Black people. It's nothing to hide. This is Stephanie Ribeiro. Some of you will be familiar with her. She's a well-known, I think she's an architect, but she had quite a large following on social networks. She became really visible, I want to say some years ago, after there was this criticism of this stage play in Sao Paulo in which the actors were using blackface. That's what I remember Stephanie from. Then you have this article from 2016, The Hypersexualization of Self and the Self-Esteem of Black Men, the Need for the Abandonment of Racist Fetish. This guy is talking about this here, and he just remembers like a colleague of him. And this is what they're saying. A lot of people will conclude like Black men may not be good for having a relationship with, but if you just want to do the horizontal dance for a little while, that might be something that people might be interested in. Like, I think this guy said in this article, he says a colleague said to him, well, you look like somebody who has good sex. And he's looking like, what is that supposed to mean? A lot of Black men will take that as a badge of honor, but then what does it say about you as a full person? Interestingly, the guy in this article, he actually started the article off quoting, talking about Pele Negra and Máscaras Brancas by Frantz Fanon. He said, reading this book was a watershed in my life. It's amazing how even being written in another country and another time, it reflects quite well the way Black people deal with racial issues in Brazilian society. Chapter 2, entitled The Man of Color and the White Woman, brought in the first 2 paragraphs words that fell upon me like a bomb. It was the part that made me understand why Black men prefer, in general, white women, but also brought me many questions later. Definitely, this is an article that you should check out. Like I said, I'm seeing this change in consciousness, with the entire Black Brazilian population over the last few decades. This is a really good article. You should go over to Black Brazil Today and check it out. Let me see. Okay, I already discussed this one. What else do we have here? This is from rapper. This is a story about rapper Carol Conká, very popular woman. She says there was already a time when she had dipped her hand in bleach to see if it would help turn her skin white. So this is something that you hear from Black Brazilians all the time when they reflect on how whiteness has just like wiped out their self-esteem. You get numerous stories of people, I put my hand in bleach. I put a clothespin on my nose to make it thinner, or, bleach to make my skin lighter if it was possible. Then, of course, the Brazilian ideology that Black people need to mix with whites to produce whiter people, whiter kids. So eventually it turns into a whiter Brazil. So this is something that's been going on for a long time. And like I said, it's not for me to speak on it as an American, but this is why I wanted to share the story of how Brazilians are seeing this. Let me see here. So again, these are all the articles that you can find that discuss how Frantz Fanon work, how his work has influenced Black Brazilians to wake up and see what their reality is as Black people in Brazil. So anyway, wanted to get an idea what you all thought about today's article, today's video. Let's get a conversation started. Drop a comment in the comment section, like this video, share this video, consider subscribing to the channel. Click on that notification bell so that you know when I put up a new video. With that said, I'm going to end this video here and request that you all come back. Check out the next video that I post here at Black Brazil Today.